This is the Nedgroup Investments podcast, where we explore a variety of views and insights that investors care about.
Hello, I'm Trevor Garvin from Nedgroup Investments Multi-Manager. This installment of your market and economic wrap is titled South Africa Sweeps to First Olympic Gold as Trump-Harris Battle Hots Up. As always, there is never a dull moment across the country and the globe. The highlight this past week surely has to be the start of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games and the sports events to date. South Africa just yesterday secured its first gold medal with 100-meter breaststroke swimmer Tatiana Smith winning the event for South Africa, improving on her silver at the Tokyo Games. The Blitzbokke won bronze in the rugby 7-a-side, followed by a further bronze in the men's mountain biking event. We wish all our athletes the best for the week ahead. South Africa has been gripped by freezing weather the past few weeks, with Cape Town in particular facing torrential storms and rain, with July setting new records for monthly rainfall. Sadly, much flooding and devastation has been caused. The really big news event was also 9 days ago, on July the 21st, when Joe Biden, the incumbent Democratic President of the United States, announced his withdrawal from the 2024 presidential elections in a statement on social media. He endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris as his replacement as the party's candidate in the election. She has since unofficially secured enough Democratic backing to be voted in as their candidate. This creates a very different scenario for ex-President Donald Trump, who looked likely to be on a victory path. Commentators are expecting a much tighter election, and markets shall be watching this with interest. Turning to the markets, the Rand is trading at around 18.44 Rand to the dollar this morning, very much in line with last week. The US dollar rebounded after the release of stronger than expected US GDP data last week on Thursday, as market expectations of a slow US interest rate cutting cycle rose. The markets, however, are still reflecting expectations of Fed cuts in September and December this year, which limits the upside potential for the US dollar. Additionally, the South African Reserve Bank is still expected to maintain a wide differential with the US, which continues to support the local rand. US stocks rebounded on Thursday last week, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq gaining close to 1% after the previous day's sell-off. The gains were driven by optimism that the Federal Reserve will be able to control inflation without significantly impacting the economy, favoring the demand for equities outside of the tech sector. In Europe, the German DAX was down 1.3%, the lowest level in over a month. This decline was in line with the performance of other major European markets. Brent crude oil fell to $84 per barrel at the end of last week due to weak Chinese demand, with concerns about China's declining oil imports and refinery activity on the back of a sluggish economic growth. Additionally, a potential ceasefire between Israel and Hamas following the Israeli Prime Minister's US visit could reduce oil supply threats. This has now been thrown off track with the recent Hezbollah attack in the north, killing a number of Israeli Druze children. The rand thus remains a worry given its sensitivity to shifts in global risk appetites. The geopolitical landscape remains fraught with conflicts and tensions, which could again disrupt oil production and global supply chains. South Africa's complex structural challenges against the backdrop of the challenging political landscape also continues to pose upside risks to the inflation outlook. The South African Reserve Bank's July Monetary Policy Committee statement showed an improvement in the country's inflation outlook. The US Fed is expected to start cutting interest rates in September, and we believe that the South African Reserve Bank will also begin its easing cycle that month, cutting by 25 basis points, followed by another reduction of the same amount in November, taking the repo rate in South Africa to 7.75% and the prime lending rate to 11.25% by the end of this year. On the international front, monetary policy decisions will remain in focus this week, with the Federal Reserve announcing its policy decision on Wednesday. It is expected to present a dovish tone that will probably confirm the first Fed rate cut when it meets again on the 18th of September. The Bank of England is also expected to cut rates by 25 basis points from 5.25 to 5% in the near future. That brings us to the end of today's market report. Enjoy the Olympics, and the big question is, are we about to enter the start of the next interest rate cutting economic cycle? Till next time, with thanks, Trevor.
Nedgroup Collective Investments is an authorized collective investments scheme manager in terms of the Collective Investments Schemes Control Act. Nedgroup Investments does not provide advice on financial products and will only give you factual information. For further details on our funds and to view our terms and conditions, please visit nedgroupinvestments.co.za. Nedgroup Investments. See money differently.